Hello my friends, let's go straight to the military map update. So this is Kamensk, Zaporizhia Oblast before Russia had this attack vector, but now Ukrainian army was spotted in Kamensk, so it was the massive counterattack from Ukrainian army. Ukraine almost fully liberated the Plavne village before, there is some sort of the red area, but it's just temporary, and Ukraine is pushing Russia inside Kamensk. There are some of the Ukrainian drones even flying, ambushing Russian positions. So it's just a matter of time, then the Russians will be forced to leave this entire area in Kamensk. And there is the river. Yeah, it's kind of a small one, but this bridge doesn't exist any longer. I guess on this map you may even see that it was destroyed. So Russia is forced to send their supplies and reinforcements just across this swampy river. And still they were not able to create the significant bridgehead in Kamensk. That's why, their attack is just doomed. The same clarification we have from the Maiko 73 map, so definitely confirmed the Ukrainian army is spotted in Kamensk and the gray area plus the blue area expanded. So now, finally, after 3 or even 4 days, we have the confirmation of the presence of the Ukrainian army in Kamensk itself. So it was, I would say, a successful counterattack because Russia actually propelled very close to Stepnohirsk and they were ambushed even in this settlement with the music school. I guess I already showed you some of the drone images where Russians were just ambushed. So no people live here in those settlements. Well, maybe just occasionally some crazy people stayed, but this is very close to the front lines and Russia constantly shells those Ukrainian cities, including, by the way, Zaporizhia itself. By the way, about Zaporizhia, you may see definitely it's not that far away from the front lines, but Russia, they have the plans to advance to Zaporizhia in some future perspective, but judging on how they advance, it could happen in 5-7 years. Well, it also depends on the Ukrainian army, what weaponry is going to be delivered to Ukraine and how robust those weapon supplies gonna be. And just hope that the United States will supply Ukraine with weapons. Under Donald Trump, I'm not sure, but maybe the future administration after 3.5 years may change something for Ukraine. And I'm saying about those many years, guys, because I expect this war to continue. Yeah, there could be some sort of the black swan unexpected event, but so far Putin is in power and Putin wants war. So I don't see any sort of the signs for the war to stop, or at least pause, because Putin is willing to use any sort of the resources in this war. Right now, let's jump to the Chasiv Yar direction, or you might call it the Bakhmut direction, because Chasiv Yar is not far away from Bakhmut. Well, Putin reported already that Chasiv Yar was liberated. In fact, it's not like that, even closer. But here what Russians try to do, they want to bypass Ukrainian defense from Orikhovo-Vasilievka, and today they sent some of the armored vehicles through this road. So we have the confirmation about it, but 7 kilometers away from Ukrainian positions, Russian vehicles were kaputted on the way in Berhivka village. And here is the evidence for you, my friends, like in good old horror movies, yeah? Our guys spotted TOS-1A Solntsepek, a very devastating system. I mean, it devastates the entire area, burning everything. And there is no escape from those shells because they penetrate everything. Even if you are in the trenches, it may reach you because it creates the wave of the pressure and very high temperature. I said it like remote flamethrower. So the vehicle was hit by Ukrainian FPV drones. It went on fire and it finished its existence. Probably Russia tried to use the Solntsepek from this position, targeting Ukrainian army in Chasiv Yar, because Ukraine still keeps control over Novopivnichny district. For Russians, Chasiv Yar is very important because they want to advance later on to Konstantinivka, which is several times larger than Chasiv Yar. By the way, Russia was fighting in Chasiv Yar for more than 2 years. You remember then Prigozhin took Bakhmut and they moved towards Chasiv Yar. Since that time, the fights were there, and still some of the region or district of the town is under Ukrainian control. But we have some of the changes from the deep state military map here. After all, Russia tries to expand the gray area from Dilivka and from Alexandra Kalinova here. So clearly there is some of the change, but red area stays the same for the last 24 hours. In Toretsk, no changes. But according to the other map source, Russia has the light advancement not far away from Dylivka village. So they not only expand the gray zone, but also the red one. I think this map is more detailed, and here is Konstantinovka already, not that far away from the front lines. But Russians absolutely need to take the remains of Toretsk and move further from 3 of the directions. So from Chasiv Yar, from Toretsk, and from Yablonivka, but here's the main obstacle, the big lake. I don't think that Russians have intentions really to go here towards the lake because it's the dead end for them. I think they'll move through this highway. As you may see, the lake they may use to trap Ukrainian army. So there is the presence of Ukrainian army here, so they may jam Ukrainians between this river that goes here and between Russian positions, and here is the lake blocking the ways. So Ukraine should be ready to move the forces out as soon as possible from this area, and it's gonna be probably very soon. The main problem for the Russian army are their supplies. Here you may see the evacuation of the UAZ-Bukhanka vehicle, which is broken. It wasn't hit, just broken, because they are not reliable, I mean, those Russian-made vehicles. But Russia constantly uses those as well as the Soviet-made motorbikes. It is not okay for supplies. Like, if you need the urgent thing, it's better not to rely on those clumsy vehicles, but Russians, they do not have any sort of the alternate. Our volunteers, they usually gather funds, like for example, Jake Bro or many Ukrainian volunteers. I also gather funds for the vehicles, and they're all Western-made, more or less reliable, they maintained. But Russia, they don't have this option. That's why they usually use Ladas and UAZ-Bukhanka vans. For example, here Russians try to deliver some of the supplies using Lada vehicle, as well as the anti-tank mines, which were in a trunk. And you may see what happened there. It was hit by the drone, the car was hit, and all of the mines detonated, making it a huge kaboom. So with the proper supplies, Russia could have advanced way faster, but because they have this problem, it actually plays a good role for Ukraine. Russian army is just getting exhausted without robust logistics. Another problem for Russians are the Ukrainian drones. Ukraine uses thousands of the drones on the front lines, and those Russians, they were hiding in some of the ruined building, and probably it's their, not probably, but for sure, it's their last selfie. And you know, they didn't expect it to happen. They don't have the anti-drone warfare deployed elsewhere. Sometimes it is on their vehicles, but it rarely helps. There is simply the lack of the infrastructure for the drone protection, for the Russian soldiers especially. I cannot show you this video here fully, but it is available on my Telegram channel. This Russian soldier has been deployed not far away from Pokrovsk. He says that he stays alone alive, and definitely he is with his camera out there in the trench filming all of the bodies around. He said that he was lucky to stay alive, but Putin is throwing them on a mid-way. He says, what the f*** are we doing here? What the hell? Why am I here? Well, you're there because you signed the contract with the Russian army. Maybe they took you from prison even. But it is his volunteer decision to go and fight for Russia. Now he's surprised that it doesn't worse all of those losses. He said the losses are absolutely crazy. Russian army just obliterates itself against Ukrainian drones. They do not see even the enemy. They shoot somewhere, drones fly, and unalive all of the Russian soldiers. Well, at least his unit, he is the only survivor. But yeah, for crazy Putin, who is completely out of reality, Russian military command draws fantastic maps that Russia is getting more ground, but they do not specify the price Russian army pays for it and Russia itself. Alright, in Pokrovsk direction, guys, Russia advanced just a minor advancement to Sukhetske village, so it was yesterday, it is today. Just a couple of the streets out there. But the problem here that Russians are moving closer to Rodinsk. They're closer and closer with every day. So let's check how it was maybe 1 week ago. They were here, and how it is today. It is like that. They expanded the gray area, which potentially might be turned into the red one. And if they take Rodinsk, it's gonna be not a good situation for supplies of Ukrainian army, because this is one of the main roads for supplies of Mirnograd and also Pokrovsk. Pokrovsk still could be supplied from this direction straight. Well, there is also one more road which leads to Mirnograd, but if Russia takes Rodinsk, they will be very close to cut logistics for Mirnograd at least. So Pokrovsk situation, I would say, is already difficult with direct threat to Rodinsk. The situation for Ukraine is also not good. Russia has tremendous resources, but how they use those resources? My friends, I'm reviewing this war almost from the very beginning. Yes, 3 years and a half at least, and Russian army makes the same mistakes again and again. They repeat everything in their tactics to have as many losses as possible. Yeah, they learn on new technologies. They came out with solutions like, for example, cable drones. Ukraine is not okay with cable drone production still. Russia has way more of those, but the idea, the philosophy of the Russian army is damn terrible, which is again good for Ukraine, and it cannot be competent, I mean the Russian army, because the system itself is corrupt. Putin put just loyal people, as I said in my previous video. Loyal people doesn't mean competent, usually it's vice versa. Alright, now the border between Dnipropetrovsk region and Donetsk. Here Russia actually advanced, they went forward in Horihave, just a little, but almost occupied this village. And here they expanded in Zelene Pole and Novopil. So it was yesterday, it is today. Yeah, they expand this vector. I would say that Ukraine lost lots of the territories here for the last couple of weeks. So a couple of weeks ago, and it is right now. Russia moves ahead here because they found out the weak spot. So they tried to move here, they tried to move in Pokrovsk, in Toretsk, elsewhere. About Kupiansk, it's interesting that they moved with this attack vector, creating potential threat for Kupiansk from north. This threat is really huge, but I don't see like huge movement for the last few days. Today they just expanded this gray area. I think it happened a couple of days ago. I even saw how Ukraine ambushed one of the vehicles, but Deep State Military Map decided to color it with a gray color for now. Oh god, I cannot show you this video fully, my friends, I'm sorry, but I reposted it on my Telegram channel. So here's the drop from a Ukrainian drone on the Russian soldier who was female. I see more and more ladies are out there fighting for the Russian army. A couple of days ago there was the offensive in Chasiv Yar, where from 17 of the soldiers, 5 were women. Well, there were women in the Russian army before, but usually not deployed fully on the front lines and not at the present scale. Our analytics say that Russia takes women from their prisons, from their colonies, and then sent to the front lines like men. And there is simply no difference between males or females for them, but obviously, yeah, it's not good. Females should not fight on the front lines. It's my not opinion, but the true belief that the war is not for ladies. Well, at least not on the front lines. Maybe drone operators, something like that is okay, but fighting there in the trenches with AKs, I don't think it's a good idea for any sort of the army. So yeah, maybe some of the women would say that I'm sexist and I don't like women to fight and they want to fight. If they want, they may go. It's their decision, but it should be voluntarily, okay, at least. And about women, by the way, in my last video I showed you some of the Russian girls with their friend who were filming kind of the funny video in Sochi with the background of the Russian oil storages on fire. Well, you know what happened? Russian police were searching for them and later on detained those ladies and their boyfriend. And this is crazy where Russia sent their resources to catch random girls who filmed some of the video. It is crazy. Reminds me, Don't Look Up movie, yeah? Like, we cannot shut down those drones, but don't post anything on social media. No, it is bad. Yeah, the good thing that they will not go to prison, they'll just pay some of the fine, that's it. Wow, guys, this is something new, though. Wow, guys, this is something new. This is the electrical transport which Russia wants to use for the tube operations. You might recall the Russian Truba, so tube operation in Sudzha, where they say that they went behind Ukrainian positions and attacked Ukrainian forces from the other side. Well, in fact, it took Russians several days to scroll through the pipeline, and now they came out with idea of this transport on batteries which may run very fast and even evacuate some of the wounded personnel plus deliver bodies. And if you check out the map, there are actually lots of the pipelines which are leading from Russia to Ukraine. And according to my information, Ukraine haven't mined those pipelines. I would cut them completely, like on the Ukrainian side, right at the border, bomb the hell out of those pipelines. I wonder why Ukraine is not doing it. Moreover, guys, I'm sure that there are such pipelines leading from, for example, Belarus to Lithuania to Poland, from Russia to Estonia. So I recommend to at least mine those tubes to make the possible tube operation impossible. Oh, some new images from the front lines. This is Garmatna 2A36 gets in Bear, Russian heavy artillery system which was deployed somewhere, and Ukraine hit it really hard with the FPV drone strike, so artillery system is no go. Alright, this is Kherson. Russia again tries to kaput the bridge. I told about it yesterday, and today they again sent some of the bombers, but it's just a minor damage down to this bridge. Still, cars may pass across it. It is the fifth attack already on this bridge, and Russia is unable to destroy it. And just for your info, this is the Kherson city and this is its bridge, so even we have the marking that Russia is bombing it. This bridge is actually not that strong compared to Antonovsky bridge, which was kaboomed by, I think, HIMARS artillery. So Russia wants to cancel this connection for Ukraine to make it impossible to supply this island. But there is one more bridge over here. It is, I think, the railroad bridge, but Ukraine still may use it for other needs. But for the rest areas, yeah, there is no connection, so Ukraine has to use some of the engineering or Panton bridges to supply the group located in this district. This is the industrial one, so probably Russia has intentions to land here, but I'm not sure. However, Russia may proclaim that they've took the part of Kherson under control if this landing operation is successful for them, but I have huge doubts about it. He says, we are Russian Marines, so we are going for offensive. Where did they take this bicycle? But they're happy, you see, they're happy. They're okay with their bicycle, they're okay that their supplies and transport is basically absent. In most of the cases, they are thrown to the front lines with absolutely zero supplies, and finding food, water, it's their problem. So yeah, why should I be surprised? And again, they're happy. They're filming videos and they're happy. So yeah, everything is okay for them. Right, where else Russia advanced is in the Torsk direction. Before I told you about the tank battle in Torsk, and here's one more attack vector which happened not long time ago. I have the confirmation about this move from another source. Plus Russia moved here, not far away from Siversk, but from my information, again, a Russian attack totally failed here. About this one, we have just the new information update for the last 24 hours. There was the Russian infantry in Torsk itself, so I would expand the gray area towards Torsk now on the military maps, but the Russian infantry was ambushed with the help of the Ukrainian tank. But this one, I couldn't find any sort of the confirmation of the drone cameras, really. Oh, here we go. The new update from the Mykolaiv has just been published with confirmation. So definitely, yeah, Russians were spotted there with their flag. And they zoom out the camera, so indeed, we have geolocation confirmation. So yeah, Russians went there with the flag, but it doesn't mean that they've deployed their forces fully near Torsk and took the entire village. It could be Ukrainian counterattack once again. Russians could be ambushed there the next day. Russian flags do not necessarily mean that Russians have the robust gain of the new villages, new territories. I already showed you yesterday with before and after flag. Just in a single day, Ukraine managed to regain positions in one of the places, and we have new image of it, close perspective. So before Russians put their flag here, now Ukrainians are out there. And in Chasiv Yar it happened like that, so Russians put their flags, but later on Ukrainian drones kaputted all of the Russian infantry. Russian flags are mainly for the Russian military command to say that they gained some of the control over the gray area villages. Yeah, sometimes they keep those villages and propel forward, but sometimes not, as you may see here. Some of the low-quality propaganda from Chaybo's. Zelensky realizing he's completely doomed if Trump wins. This post dated even before elections on 27th of September 2024. But here's what this individual writes today. President Trump is now getting his briefings on Ukraine from Zelensky's regime. A catastrophic situation. They are grossly misleading him on casualties and projecting their own vast losses onto Russia. The grossly inadequate and compromised Kelek is no counterbalance. This guy is nuts with his post screaming out loud about some sort of the bullshit that Zelensky's regime is so powerful that they give statistics for Trump. Wow, Zelensky has really the huge influence in this case in the White House. Yeah, here he mentions the statistics which Trump presented not long time ago, saying that Russia loses 15 times more compared to Ukraine, which I think is not far away from reality. And you know, guys, the weekend has already been ended and there is no confirmation, any sort of the confirmation of the meeting between Witkoff and Putin, or Witkoff and someone from Russia. Well, it's hard to judge why this meeting didn't happen, or maybe it happened behind the closed doors and we don't know anything about it. Well, anyways, if I'll hear something, I'll get you updated. Right, Ukrainian army is changing its camouflage to MM25 standard. It seems like it's called multicam. I'm not sure, I'm not the expert, but what I may say that the old pixel camouflage was way brighter compared to the Russian one. So actually, our guys, our soldiers, our officers say that Russian camouflage is way better. It fits the environment in Ukraine. It's also kind of pixel, but the small one and the color is completely different. So then you see any sort of the drone video, obviously you spot Ukrainian soldiers right away because they're more brighter. Because somehow you have even this beige color. This is very light, too light. So Russians camouflage obviously way better than this one. And well, MM25 is also better than this old pixel. I like pixel, it looks nice, but this is more convenient, I mean the Russian one. And yes, you may say that still Ukrainian and Russian soldiers, they're wearing some of the stripes to ident themselves, enemy or not enemy, and Russian soldiers also use multicam. But if you are ambushed, you need to hide somewhere, you may remove the stripes, and it usually happens like that, and you hide your position for even sometimes many hours and many days. In this case, it's called swamp, so bolotny camouflage, it means swamp camouflage, really matters. So now Ukraine will use this one, but still it's kind of light for Ukraine, I would say, but better than Pixel. Guys, I know you like some ladies on this channel to appear. Well, this is the Russian girl somewhere in Sochi, and she with her friend filmed the reaction on the kabooms happening in Sochi. She said that something is flying over us. Could she move her arm a little more? Kaboom! Yeah, with the wide eyes. Oh, one more.
Пиздец. Так живем.
Пиздец, she said. And she replies, that is how we live. Indeed, I have nothing to add more to this statement. What the hell is happening here? I think it's the long video, almost 2 minutes long, and yeah, he was hitting himself all the video, not able to break the bottle. That's the dedication. 2 minutes, like, constantly. Oh my god. No brain was hurt while filming this video. Yeah, Russian army men are just outstanding. And guys, please check out my channel for more videos. I filmed today 2 more videos about Kaboom report in Sochi, yeah, previous frontline updates, and also the worst mistake which Putin done communicating with Donny and actually turning Donald Trump against himself. Honestly, I really enjoy this type of the content, then I need to dig more information and tell retrospective perspective of the events which happened before and how they influence the current situation. And guys, I'm filming that much because of your kind support on Patreon. The link for my Patreon is in the video description below. And thank you so much for hiring me for this job and maintaining my motivation. My friends, if you don't have the opportunity to support me on Patreon, you might just press your like to this video. By doing so, you also help me. And I wish you all a peaceful sky wherever you are and have a great time.